Hey everyone, welcome to today's yoga class. Today we are doing a yin practice for our throat chakra with affirmations so that we can really integrate everything that this chakra embodies. We're just going to need a bolster for this practice. You could also use a couple blocks or a rolled up blanket. So we're just going to begin seated in the center of our mat, and we're just going to do 5 rounds of our lion's breath. So we will inhale through the nose and exhale, open our mouths wide and release a hissing sound as we breathe out. So we'll inhale and exhale. And we will repeat this 4 more times. Don't be afraid to look silly. I sure look silly, but this really allows us to release a lot that we have stuck up within us. Now when you're done, we're just going to do a short seated meditation right here where we are, so you can return to your normal breath. So when we have a balanced throat chakra, it looks a little something like an ability to speak truthfully and honestly, working in a field that's in alignment with your beliefs, feeling a desire to listen to others, knowing that others value you when they listen to you, the ability to disagree with others in a kind way, and feeling that you can express yourself with ease and enjoying doing so. When the throat chakra is underactive, it might look like having issues expressing your desires, struggling with social anxiety, a fear of public speaking, not being able to stand up for yourself, and having difficulty with being honest. If your throat chakra is overactive, then that might look like being extremely talkative to the point where you're talking over others, pushing your beliefs onto others, and not being a very good listener. We're going to go ahead and get into our first pose. So we're going to bring our right hand, place it above the left ear on the head, and then we're going to let our right ear drop down towards our right shoulder. We're not going to put much pressure here, just to really allow gravity to do all the work here. Our affirmation for this pose is, I live an honest, authentic, wholehearted life. I live an honest, authentic, wholehearted life. The purpose of these affirmations is not to try to convince yourself of something that you don't believe to be true, but it is to measure where the work that you have to be done is. So if you hear this affirmation in your mind and you think, no, that's not me, I don't resonate with this, then it's important to take note of that. And that is where the work is to be done. It can also be helpful for some people to visualize. So the color blue is the color of the throat chakra, and it is located at the throat. So if that helps, you can also use that as a tool to connect with your throat chakra. Very good, everyone. We are going to release our hand, come back to our center seated position, and I'm just doing a couple neck circles each direction before we go ahead and do this neck release on the other side. So taking your left hand, bringing it right above the right ear, and letting that left ear fall down towards the shoulder. Not putting pressure, just allowing gravity to do all of the work. Our affirmation for this pose is, I am a clear and effective communicator. I am a clear and effective communicator. Okay, everyone, it is time for us to release our arms. I'm just taking some shoulder circles each direction. And now we're going to move into our next pose, which is going to be our saddle pose. So we will go ahead, come up towards the front of the mat, sit on your knees, bring your bolster behind you so that if you were to lay down, your upper back and neck will be supported. We're going to sit up a little bit, and you can move the fleshy part of your calf out away from your body so that there's room for your whole body to come down. And we will go ahead and very gently, slowly lower ourselves down onto the bolster. I'm going to release my arms and bring them up towards my head. This is a really great chest opener. If this feels like too much on your knees, that's no problem. You can go ahead, slowly come out of the pose the way you came in, and we will just not do anything with the legs, and we'll make it fish. So we just lay back on the bolster, bring the arms out beside your chest, and we'll just focus there on the chest. Our affirmation here is, my voice matters. My voice matters. Alrighty, we will go ahead and very gently come up onto our forearms and then up onto the hands. We'll lift ourselves up off of our knees, and we will go ahead and swing our legs out of this position. And I'm just gonna kick my legs in front of me to reset this. If you like, you can hug each knee in towards your chest. And then we're going to go ahead and come onto our hands and knees. You can move the bolster out of the way. We're all done with that, so you won't be needing it for the rest of the practice. And we're going to come into our next pose, which is thread the needle. So we'll lift the right arm up to the sky, and we will reach the right arm now down underneath your body, and rotate the upper body at the hips and turning our head towards the left side. Can bend your left elbow and lower your right shoulder and ear towards the ground. Keep your hips aligned with your knees and extend your left arm forward, keeping your elbow unbent and pressing your left palm into the ground to open up your upper back. Our affirmation for this pose is, I embrace silence and I know inner peace. I embrace silence and I know inner peace. Great job, everybody. We are now going to slowly come out of this pose. So bringing that right arm back out, coming back to hands and knees, leaning back to sit back on your feet, and then tipping the forehead back, taking some neck circles, taking some shoulder circles. And then we will go ahead and come back to the hands and knees, and we will go ahead and do this pose on the other side. So lifting the left arm up to the sky, threading it between the arm and your body, extending that right arm out in front of you. Our affirmation for this pose is, I value the words of others. I value the words of others. it's time for us to go ahead and press into our arms, come into our hands and knees, then into a cat position and back into child's pose. Just resting here a moment before we lean forward, come to lay on our bellies, and we are going to take our seal pose. So come onto your forearms, and we will go ahead and press into our hands to come into seal. You can change just how straight and how close to your body your hands are, so mess around with it until you find a spot that hits the edge nicely. We don't want to be overstretching because we'll be here for a few minutes. But once you find your edge, go ahead and settle into your breath. And our affirmation for this pose is, "It is safe for me to show the world my true self." It is safe for me to show the world my true self. We will very gently bring our forehead down towards the mat. We are going to bring our left arm out to the left, bending our elbow at a 90-degree angle to take our cactus arm here. We'll keep our left palm flat on the ground. Now we will reach our right arm out to the side, bend in the right elbow, and place your right hand flat on the ground next to your rib cage. We'll slowly push onto our right hand to the ground and lift our right side up and roll onto the left ear, shoulder, and hip. You can bend your knees slightly, allow your legs to relax, keep them stacked, and we'll hold here. If you'd like to make it a little bit harder, you can go ahead and extend your top leg behind you. But once again, be careful not to move past your edge. Our affirmation for this pose is, "I am in touch with my needs and I communicate them kindly." I am in touch with my needs and I communicate them kindly. All right, everyone, we'll go ahead and slowly roll back onto our bellies. Reset here for just a moment before we take cactus arms. With the right arm, bring the left hand towards your chest, and we will slowly push into that left hand, lift our left side up, and roll on to our right ear, shoulder, and hip. Bending our knees slightly, allowing the legs to relax, and moving that top leg behind us if you so choose. Our affirmation here is, I find creative ways to foster my self-expression. I find creative ways to foster my self-expression. It's time for us to come out of the pose. So if you had your top leg behind you, bring that back to center and slowly come back just laying on your belly. We're going to rest here for a moment before we move into our Savasana. We will slowly roll to our side and then onto our backs. Let your legs fall out in front of you. Your hands come out beside you, palms facing up. We're not going to have any affirmation here. We'll just use this as a time to integrate all the wonderful benefits that we brought to ourselves today through this practice. we are going to very slowly lift our knees up and roll to our side into our fetal position. We'll rest here for just a minute. You can bring your arms towards your chest, press into the ground to come to a seated position. Keep your eyes closed, and we're just going to do 5 more rounds of our lion breath. So inhaling and exhaling, opening the mouth wide, letting out a hissing sound. We're going to take the deepest breath we've taken all day, not a lion's breath, just regular. And on the exhale, we will bow to seal our practice. Namaste, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope that you got some benefit from this. If you enjoyed, go ahead and leave a like. It really does help. I love hearing feedback, so anything you have to say in the comments, I would love to hear. And if you'd like to stay tuned for more classes, go ahead and subscribe, hit that bell icon to get notified when I post, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.